Good afternoon, everyone. It's October 1st, 2018. I'm Eric. It's been 1 year since the Vegas massacre occurred, and over the past year, we've been left with many more questions than answers. The Free Thought Project has thought of 5 questions, but I do believe there are many, many more questions than 5 to be asked. It seems each and every time that there's one of these mass shootings, it ends up that way, where the public is left with more questions than answers. So, Steve Paddock is the accused shooter. It is worth noting that when police entered his room, their body cam footage, or one particular officer, shows no window broken out. How would this individual how would he be able to mow down that many people? I think it was 50 plus dead, and then more than 100 injured. How would he be able to do that if there are no windows open? But, and just like the Parkland shooting, there's contradictory testimony given by most of the witnesses. They mostly contradict each other, and then of course you have the issue of them or researchers discovering the fact that individuals were exfiltrated off rooftops there right after the shooting occurred. And it was more than one individual. So there's, you know, like most other shootings in this country, number one, the official narrative is a blatant lie and an insult to the intelligence of the public. So it has been exactly 1 year since Stephen Paddock allegedly busted out the windows of his suite on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Casino and Hotel and opened fire on concert goers. In total, 58 people would be slaughtered and hundreds of others injured. And the police, with all the police state technology, we still don't have any answers, and the Las Vegas Police Department has done everything possible to block information getting to the public. Following the tragedy, law enforcement engaged in a series of narrative changes. The narrative they've given has changed at least 4 times, and so there's no reason to believe them. I mean, if, say I was a burglar, and they were interviewing me to see if they could get a confession or proof, and I changed my story or narrative over and over again, they would tend to believe that I was guilty of something, if not and blatantly guilty of lying, right? So there's no reason we can't apply this same logic to authorities when when they change their story over and over again. If they change their story over and over again, they're fucking lying. Right. Following the tragedy, law enforcement engaged in a series of narrative changes, deliberate blocking of information, and appear to be working directly with the casino to make sure Americans never know the entire truth. Now, there was an acoustical analysis done on there, many other things, and they all were, or had the finding that that there was more than one shooter. In fact, I think there was at least 3. It had to have been at least 3 shooters. Each of the shots make a distinct sound. You can tell the difference between AK-47 fire and AR-15 fire. You can tell the difference between a 9mm and a 44. And just with your naked ear, without any kind of equipment to analyze it, you can tell. Okay, so here are the questions, or if you want to call them that. The number one thing is Paddock's girlfriend. They said worded. I think they had a typo there. Reports suggest Paddock's girlfriend worked for the FBI. So, and then there you have the instance of the woman outside the concert telling people that they were about to die. And there's a lot more that I didn't remember, but how can you trust your authorities or your leadership if they can't tell you the simple truth? And more importantly, why can't they tell us the simple truth? There's got to be a reason. So, in August, a report surfaced suggesting that Stephen Paddock's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, could have been an FBI asset, according to a credit application, as reported by Truth Pundit. Danley listed the FBI as an employer. So, then the next issue they bring up, I would not call these questions. Officer seen on body camera footage cowering in fear as Paddock murdered people 1 floor above them. Again, the body camera footage and statement from the deputy who entered his room first says that no window was broken out. But just like when Nicholas Cruz opened fire on students, and that too is questionable, in a Parkland, Florida high school, it would later be revealed that the school resource officer cowered in fear instead of trying to stop the massacre. Same thing happened. I mean, it's been ruled on a handful of times that the law enforcement has no obligation to protect you. There was a rape case where 2 women tried to sue, I believe it was the Washington police, I believe it was. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they ruled that they didn't have standing because police are not under obligation to protect the public. So, they can cower in fear all they want. Honestly. So, this happened at Mandalay Bay too. Number 3, Paddock reportedly warned his brain was hacked and he was under government control. Earlier this year, shocking information surfaced that went largely ignored by the mainstream media. And of course it does. Most truth goes unignored by mainstream media. Or ignored, rather. The report entails testimony from one of Paddock's high-placed escorts who blew the whistle on how a prostitute who met with the deranged shooter just before the massacre went missing, and noted how Paddock thought he was under the control of the government. And if he got the MK Ultra treatment, then possibly he was under control of the government. There's messages where he is telling her he's a government experiment and that they are listening to everything he says and does, and they can hack into his brain and take over. And this is possible. There is technology that exists, or at least the patents for it, that's able to control individuals. Information suggesting Paddock was an arms dealer was completely ignored by the mainstream media. In August, the arms dealer who admitted to selling Paddock his ammunition for the massacre was indicted. Douglas Haig was charged with a single count of engaging in the business of manufacturing ammunition without a license. And of course, if he had a good attorney, that would not have stood. And the reason is, the individual can make individual person-to-person sales without having a fucking business license. So, what makes his arrest so noteworthy is the fact that emails released by the FBI suggest Paddock may have been an arms dealer as well. And here's their last question, or I guess maybe anomaly would be a better word. Number 5, Vegas police seen on video being instructed to turn off their body cameras. So, that is highly suspicious. Why would they want officers to turn off their body cameras? I mean, you would think they'd want as much information on video as possible, but this is not the case. So, you know, whenever these massacres occur, a lot of fishy details come to light afterwards, and it makes the shootings themselves very suspect. Wouldn't you agree? Almost as if maybe they were part of some sort of drill or false flag. Again, Stephen Paddock could not have possibly shot those people from the 32nd floor without there being windows broke out for him to shoot through. If there was no windows broke out, then clearly there were other shooters, and he is a patsy. Which is a logical conclusion to come to. Anyway, I thought I would share this with you on the anniversary of this massacre, and I hope you all have a good day. Remember, kill the state, live free.